All right,
uh,
let's talk
and
about that.
and Florida. In fact, I even blogged my
I
one of
saw
my
that.
very limited blogs on the marchofmadness.com site talks about 7'9" Olivier Roux,
It's a big son
seven
of a bitch.
foot nine, who's actually a red shirt freshman. They're a number one seed, Florida, and they have a red shirted 7'9" Canadian he's not George Murazan or Manute Bull, going up and down the court. This kid's got legs under him. He made Shaq look like a midget. And this guy, when they cut down the nets, he actually stood on his feet while everybody else uses a ladder.
My God.
And the thing about redshirting is he's not locked into not playing. In fact, they have a 7'1" center who was also a medical red shirt who they brought on a month ago to play because of injuries. So they may have been preserving this guy for something very, very special, Florida. However, the whole year is, hey, we're keeping him out. But I
Yeah.
don't know. I've seen
Mhm.
suppression so many times in my years. I just don't know if it's going to happen. But if it does happen, then I would expect Florida to win it all. And that will be the biggest story in the history of the tournament.
Wow.
But if not, we'll see him next year. And trust me, I will bet them early and often because they're bringing back some serious talent.
So it's a no-go on Norfolk State. UConn at 8 versus Oklahoma at 9. Oh, these 8 versus 9s. How many people filling out the bracket want to pick an upset so bad that they're like, yo, give me a 9 because then I picked something that wasn't.
You
UConn,
know,
number 8.
Matt,
Yeah,
UConn has won the last two national championships.
that's crazy because now they're an 8. An 8.
Well, and they've played like an eight. But you know what? Teams do what they got to do. They're in the dance, so
Yeah.
you know what? It's like a lot of people that know how to dance. They're going to wait till that floor is full before they go out there and show their inner John Travolta, right?
Yeah.
And so I like UConn, and I like UConn to beat Florida if Olivier Roux
Does not play.
does not play.
Intriguing. At Memphis at Colorado State. Oh, I know you got something to say about this one. We talked about it briefly earlier. 5
This
versus
is crazy. This game is a 2.5 point spread. 2.5 points, a 5 versus a 12, 2.5. Yeah, and get this, the 12 seed is the
12.
favorite.
Yeah,
What do you think about that?
that's crazy. I mean, got it. I mean, how? How? Well, how, John?
I don't know, but would they're telling you that the 5 is really the 12 and the 12 is really the 5.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. There,
But just like week 1 in the preseason of the NFL, these are games, lesser games. I mean, this isn't a number one seed. This isn't, one of the more popular games. Memphis, Colorado is kind of a honor,
hmm,
but the wise guys are going to be all over Colorado State saying, oh, well, you got a 5 seed and they're getting 2.5. Everybody's taking them. There's going to be normal people who think like we do, like a couple of weirdo
yeah.
conspiracy nuts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tempted to think that Memphis, the 5 seed, who's getting points, who's plus on the money line, wins the game. But I'm not touching this anyway. I'm going to watch it because this year, especially that first week of the NFL preseason, they were coming after people like us, and it's a game like this that I could see doing the same thing.
Yeah. All right, gun to your head, and for our people watching here for the bracket purposes, if you had to pick a winner, who you taking?
For the bracket,
Mm-hmm.
uh, honestly, I couldn't tell you, but I'm going with St. John's.
Oh, okay. Out of this, I was talking just Memphis and Colorado State, but
Oh, I'm sorry, Memphis and Colorado State. Memphis, I think would be a better team. I mean,
Yeah.
clearly they're the 5, but they're underdogs. So just given the fact that I'm not going to second guess. It's like a double reverse in football.
Yeah.
When you have the 12 seed favored over the 5, most people are taking the 5, and so I'm on the 12. I just think it's a little bit too extreme, and so I'm simply not going to touch it. But I'm not going to say, oh, well, it's super fixed and now it's even more so. And so like a double reverse, and I basically outthink myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to second guess myself. I'm just simply not going to touch it. You know what? I'm going to whip out a coin on this one when I do my bracket for
Cool.
sure.
Maryland and Grand Canyon. Dude, the Grand Canyon? Dude, let's go. They're a 13 against a 4 Maryland.
Well, GCU is kind of interesting. It's a 10.5 point spread.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Grand Canyon's the underdog. It opened up at plus 450 on the money line. It's already down. It's at 430, plus 430 now. The line, however, hasn't changed. It's still at 10.5, but the money line's gone from plus 450 to plus 430. I don't see either of these teams doing anything in the tournament. And Grand Canyon was in last year, and a lot of people were betting them to be one of those Cinderella guys, and they got smoked and eliminated, I believe, early, if I'm not mistaken. But they could be one of those first round upsets, but I don't think they're going to. But I do like them and the points. It's the first time I've said take the points, but don't bet them on the money line.
Right.
I really have no confidence, and I think it's real easy to just say, hey, 4.5 to 1, let's just bet it. It's March Madness. So you're going to find a lot of people just simply bet that way.
Missouri and Drake, 6 versus 11. Drake.
Love them.
Yeah? Pencil them in? Awesome.
Pencil in Drake. Drake is what, our number 11 team. Do you know what their record? They're 30-3.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, they've been playing standout competition though too, I heard.
I have more side notes on this Drake team than any other team. Now, they won the Missouri Valley, the aforementioned Mo Valley, where Creighton used to play before they became so big that they had to move over to the Big East. But they also have the number 1 scoring defense in college. And the thing about that conference, Missouri Valley, it's probably the most underrated competition of all your mid-major conferences. So I like Drake. I expect them to make it at least to the Sweet 16.
Sweet, nice.
Yes,
so
Sweet 16.
Yeah, so you got them beating, the next team, whoever wins between Texas Tech and UNC Wilmington. 3 versus 14. Texas Tech. Dude, UNC Wilmington sounds like they're going to be on our television set, as I'm saying.
Wilmington's been in this tournament a ton. They're in the what is that, the Colonial, the CAA. I'm pretty sure it's Colonial Athletic Association. But they've been in the tournament like 7 times. I mean, they're tried, they're tested. Obviously, it's a college team, so there's turnover, but they're a legitimate program. But even as a 14 seed, I don't see them beating Texas Tech, because Texas Tech was a team that beat Houston, and they're a number 1 seed. So I think that Texas Tech, should be a pretty safe call here.
Cool, but you got Drake over Texas Tech because they're going to the dance, Sweet 16.
You know what? It's March Madness, yeah, and Drake has no right being an 11 seed. That's the ultimate disrespect. They won 30 games. If a college team wins 30 games, they have a shot at the Final Four. I might even, I'm sorry, but I might even take UConn and Drake and St. John's are my 3 possibilities to cut down the nets. I don't see Florida is, as much as I believe that they're going to win it all next year and possibly even this year, but sans Olivier Rioux, I don't see that happening. In fact, I see them getting upset because there will be so much money on Florida. It's
Yeah.
not even funny.
Well, Drake versus St. John's would be a very exciting, um, next level game. That'd be cool. Kansas, though. Let's talk about Kansas and Arkansas, the 7 versus the 10. Um, obviously Kansas has rich history in the tournament, but Arkansas, you had something to say about Arkansas, I believe. You had an interesting thought.
I do. In fact, this matchup, Kansas, Bill Self, they're always a win. I mean, they're like a Gonzaga, they're like a Duke, North Carolina, not this year. But Kansas, Bill Self versus Arkansas, Coach Calipari. I love me some Coach Cal, with Arkansas. So Self and Calipari, this is Kansas's 35th straight tournament, but they're definitely on an off year. I don't know. I honestly can't pick, and I'm not going to between these two because such an awesome competition. I think that these two are going to try to kill each other.
Yeah.
But whoever wins
It's
whoever
Louisiana St.
wins
John's.
is going to have to face Rick Pitino and St. John's in the second round. And so I will defer to obviously St. John's, Omaha of Nebraska. Come on,
So
Although Rick Pitino, he's a good guy too, like Izzo Fascisto. I love Rick Pitino unless he's wearing those white pants that he sweats through, and you can see his red polka dotted underwear. That was embarrassing. But yeah, St. John's. They won 32. They won the Big East. But I have a problem with teams that win their conference tournament. So I'm going to go with Rick Pitino in round one, but we'll see who they play. I mean, but when you have Bill Self, John Calipari, and Rick Pitino, 3 out of those 4 coaches in that first round, it's possible they might all just beat each other up and open it for someone else. And of course, like I said, UConn and Drake, I believe, have 2 legitimate shots at the Final Four, and that's all I'm going to say on that.
So your favorite team's Florida if they get there this year. Otherwise next year for sure. UConn, Drake, St. John's. Those are the teams to watch. Awesome.
Yes.
Very cool. So that kind of wraps up. That side of the bracket there, the South.
Yeah, and we'll come back to it after at the Sweet 16, and then we'll come back to it before the Final Four. But for now, this is all we got.